As the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise globally and here in Guyana, we encourage everyone to practice social distancing. Remember, wear a mask when going out and wash your hands thoroughly and frequently as we all strive to stop the spread of the virus. Welcome to InfoHub for Monday, April 20. Thanks for joining us. As of April 19, the number of local COVID-19 cases has increased to 65. The Public Health Ministry is imploring citizens to do their part by adhering to the curfew and other guidelines to help stop the spread of the deadly virus. Delicia Haynes has our first story.
According to a PAHO WHO projections model, Guyana's numbers would have at least tripled if measures and precautionary guidelines weren't implemented. The ministry continues to push efforts to flatten the curve as confirmed cases rise. After the first case was confirmed on March 11, just about 1 week later, 3 other cases were confirmed relating to the index case, and by the end of the second week, the number raised to 5 cases with 1 death. The regions began to put the necessary emergency measures in place to slow down the spread or even prevent the virus from reaching their regions. By April 1, the third week, there were 19 cases tested positive, 17 from Region 4 and 1 each from Regions 3 and 6 respectively. On April 8, a few days after the national emergency orders were made by the Public Health Minister, it was reported that there were 37 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Guyana. The ministry intensified contact tracing and testing. The number of confirmed cases as of April 19 is 65, 7 deaths and 9 recovered cases. More than 80% of the confirmed cases are in Region 4, while Regions 1, 3, 6 and 10 share the remainder. Individuals can play their part in adhering to the curfew or the emergency measures, avoiding large gatherings and only leaving their homes if necessary, to slow down or even stop transmission of the deadly coronavirus. The government has been urged by PAHO WHO not to relax the emergency measures too soon, or they will be running the risk of a spike in the number of cases with a health system that may be unable to deal with such large numbers. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
For updated information on the number of COVID-19 cases, continue to follow our social media where we provide a daily special report. In the meantime, Finance Minister the Honorable Winston Jordan says the government will turn its attention to stimulus packages for vulnerable Guyanese who've most been affected by the novel coronavirus as soon as the country moves past its current hurdle. Details in this story.
Those who will benefit include persons who have lost employment, those who have lost significant parts of their income, the self-employed, and school and itinerant vendors, among others. Minister Jordan said that the government will be establishing a database in this regard.
Having put all of that on the table, the issue about stimulus package will be in our minds, so to speak. I will say to you that once we can get past this political hurdle, then the issue of a real stimulus package, more or less looking at the economy post-COVID, will be occupy our attention in a more studied manner.
The present hurdle includes an undeclared winner of the country's March 2, 2020 general and regional elections. The situation has now led to a national recount of those votes by the Guyana Elections Commission. The current impasse has also affected the reconvening of Parliament, where crucial decisions are made and laws are passed. In the meantime, Minister Jordan said that the government is setting its priorities in order, which includes securing resources to fight COVID-19.
Our immediate priority is in terms of garnering resources to fight this pandemic. Very few countries in the world have seen flattening in their curves. Unfortunately, in Guyana, we don't have that experience as yet. And some people have gravely suggested that the worst is yet to come.
For InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
The Guyana Elections Commission says it will be utilizing a 10-hour shift system to carry out the national recount of the March 2, 2020 votes. Whilst the start date has not been decided on as yet, GECOM Chair Justice Retired Claudette Singh says the Commission will commence the process from 8 a.m. each day and conclude at 6 p.m. The Chair and other members of the Commission were accompanied by members of the National COVID-19 Task Force, including officials from the Ministry of Public Health, where they visited the Artichon Conference Center to ascertain the safety of the venue for the CARICOM team. The chair said the task force was satisfied with the visit, and meanwhile, instead of being quarantined for 14 days upon their arrival here, the high-level CARICOM observer team will be required to take a COVID-19 test in their home country before arriving in Guyana. In other news, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Senior Counsel Basil Williams, has described the Bar Council's attack on the Guyana Elections Commission as one filled with half-truths. Hear more in this story.
In the article published on Friday, April 17, 2020, the Bar Council called for GCOM to expedite the national recount of votes cast on March 2nd, saying that there was a need for accurate and transparent poll results, and that failure by GCOM to ensure this after 6 weeks was disgraceful and inexcusable. In response to this article, A.G. Williams said the attack was filled with half-truths. He said the Bar Council should also be ashamed to pronounce that Guyana would fall into a constitutional abyss if GCOM's current recount goes beyond April 30th, 2020. The Attorney General stated, the Bar Council had a duty to fully disclose that though Article 69 of the Constitution provides that on dissolution, the next session of Parliament must be convened no later than 4 months from the end of the preceding session. The Court of Appeal of Guyana in 2006 upheld the decision of the Chief Justice Carl Singh that the 4 months timeline was directory and not mandatory. End of quote. The Attorney General explained that a similar case, Civil Appeal number 79 of 2006, was appealed by the leadership of the AFC, challenging the PPPC's convening the new parliament not on the second day of September 2006, 4 months after dissolution, but on the 28th of September 2006, almost 5 months later. He challenged the Bar Council, saying it did not make any alarm about the constitutional abyss then, adding that at that time there was no pandemic or required social distancing. Quote, in the 2006 elections, there was no pandemic that required social distancing, nor court challenge before the declaration of the results of the elections as at present. End of quote. A.G. Williams said evidence showed a deliberate intention on the part of the opposition PPPC to ignore the 4 months timeline in Article 69 in previous years, and yet again challenged the Bar Council about this. In the meantime, he expressed confidence that GCOM's lawyers would respond to the attack and abuse directed towards it by the Bar Council. He also urged GCOM not to be distracted from its constitutional mandate envisaged in Article 62 and 162 of the Constitution to independently supervise and conduct elections in Guyana in order to deliver credible elections. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
More news after this infomercial on how to properly wear the N95 face mask.
A face mask only works if it is put on, used, and removed properly. Before putting on a face mask, please do remember to wash your hands with adequate soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use a hand sanitizer with 60% or more alcohol. This is an N95 face mask. Check your mask for holes and tears. Identify the top of the mask. Cup the mask in the palm of your hand with the metal strip at your fingertips and the elastic bands hanging loosely. Position the mask under your chin and covering your nose. Place the lower strap behind your neck. It must touch your neck. Place the upper strap to the top of your head. Untwist the straps. Use both hands to mold the shape of the nosepiece by pushing downward and outward. Perform a fit check by checking the mask to see if there are any air leaks. Do not lower your mask to speak. You must not touch the front of your mask. If you do, then wash your hands immediately. When removing the face mask, remove the bottom elastic from behind. Then the top elastic, ensuring that the elastic straps do not snap. Once again, do not touch the front of the mask. Throw the mask away in a bin with cover. Do not forget to wash your hands immediately. Remember, if your mask gets damp, replace it.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's tell you now that 4 prisoners who were being held at the Lusignan prison on Sunday night escaped whilst they were in the holding bay. This was disclosed by the Director of Prisons, Gladwin Samuels. A wanted bulletin has since been issued. Amongst the escapees are murder-accused Kenrol Perez and Ganesh Danraj. Anthony Padmore was being held for trafficking in cannabis. He also escaped along with Sister Ryan Bisnot, who was being held for armed robbery. Now, anyone with information that can lead to the capture and rearrest of the escapees is asked to contact the 911 emergency line. In a bid to cushion the impact of COVID-19 on constituencies across Georgetown, members of the Marion City Council pooled resources to provide hampers to several citizens. Shakil Bourne tells us more.
His Worship Pandit Ubraj Narayan via Zoom told InfoHub the hamper distribution exercise was initiated by the city's elected officials.
We care for the city of Georgetown. We care for the people in Georgetown. We care for Guyanese brothers and sisters through the length and breadth of Guyana. I can say that councillors utilize this stipend and even their own pocket money.
The mayor further noted the relief exercise has been supported by the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI. The private sector body has made frequent donations of hygiene products to the MNCC, in addition to assisting with the building of hand-washing stations around Georgetown. Gafour's and Hamid hardware businesses have also come on board to bolster the fight against COVID-19 with the handing over of water tanks for hand-washing stations. The Civil Defense Commission has spearheaded the distribution of relief hampers to vulnerable people since the emergency measures were gazetted in accordance with the Public Health Ordinance Act. Shakil Bourne for InfoHub.
Remember to do your part to ensure that you do not put yourself at risk during this time. If you have a cough, fever, or difficulty breathing, please seek medical attention early, but call that hotline first. That's all for today. Connect with us on our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as we bring you the latest and important news related to COVID-19 and much more. Also, subscribe to our website, dpi.gov.gy. Your Bridge report is up next. Stay safe. Goodbye for now.